What is up, Grid Nation? I'm Cassie Martinez, and this is the Gridlocked podcast. Please keep in mind, all views of me and my guests are their own, and we have no affiliation with the United Grid League. But we're going to talk United Grid League. I'm here with Tom Sroka. What's up, Tom?
Hey, Cassie, how you doing? Thank you for having me.
I'm good, thanks. Like if we just didn't have a 10-minute conversation before this started.
That's what we had to hit the button. We're like, we got to put this into good use.
I know. So we have our match in Miami this Saturday.
Yeah.
Your match is at 6:15, 6:30?
Yeah, 6:30, something like that. We're the last match of the weekend.
Okay, sick. And you're going against the Sharks. When do you come to Miami?
I get in tomorrow, like early evening. I think my flight gets in around like 5 or so. And then I get in around 5. We have a team training session. I'm drawing the blank. I was going to try to drop the CrossFit name. Hold on, let me pull up my touch screen. CrossFit Yellow Falcon. We're going into CrossFit Yellow Falcon for our team training. Then we're gonna have dinner after there, and then I like this, but like last year, I think our season opener, we were the first match, and it felt very like chaotic, like because a lot of us got in. I think we were in Orlando. I think the first weekend last year, and like everybody flew in around the same time. We didn't get a team training session together. We met up for dinner, and then we were at the Airbnb trying to get like our match format stuff sorted and everything like that. This feels a lot more relaxed. So a couple of the gyms around in the area are letting us, if we want to, come in and kind of loosen up before heading over to the venue, because there's not a ton of space at the venue to do extra warming up and stuff like that unless you're the matchup. And then especially with the first weekend, it being media and all that stuff as well. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. We got a couple of new faces on the team that I know some of them from other things, but then there's others that I've followed actually coincidentally for a while, and so I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good time. I'm excited just because I kind of know what to expect this year. This is being my second year in this league.
That's awesome, and glad to see you back. And your team, by the way, is a team that's basically very different from your championship team last season. Have you guys had any practices together? What's that been like during the
season? They did about a month ago. They did a training camp. Most of the team was there. We didn't lose too many people. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and downplay that though, because the 4 big pieces that we lost, one of them still playing. He's just not on our team. Right. You've got, Griffin Raleigh, Amanda, Fisher. I was going to say 4, but that's not her last name. And then RJ Hubbard. 3 MVP candidates. RJ and Amanda won the MVP. Griffin was Rookie of the Year before. Like losing them is not fun. And then in my opinion, Blake should have been the strength specialist of the year last year. He ended up going to the Sharks. Those 4 big pieces are huge holes to fill. But like I think Dan did a really good job of doing so. Like Matt Cable was somebody who we had on our team last year. He was a new dad, had a newborn baby. Like I think that's why he missed the first match, because his wife was literally gave birth like 2 days before.
On a highway.
Yeah, on a highway. Yeah, like that was a very interesting text exchange between him and the team when that was going down, because we were all like en route to Orlando when that happened. So but Matt, the matches that he was there for, he was a difference maker. Skill set wise, I put him and Griffin on the same level in terms of like the things that they could do, the speed at which they could do things, the efficiency in which they moved. And Matt has really, you're not going to hear a lot from Matt from like a vocal standpoint in terms of leadership, but like he's going to be a mover. He's going to let his actions do the talking for him. He's probably pound for pound one of the strongest guys on the floor, no matter what the team is and stuff like this. I think he's going to do great. The Billingtons are back. They're awesome human beings, as well as like they're just I was impressed as all hell with them last year. They didn't know how to do an aerial before that first match that we had those aerials, and they literally taught themselves how to do aerials and crushed it when it came time to doing a match. Like, so they're super great. Love dealing with them. Ariana's back. She was dealing with a shoulder injury like 90% of the year. Like she didn't really feel 100% till that championship weekend. So like she's 100%. I think people are going to be, really impressed with her and what she's doing. Just going down the list. Obviously you got Sydney and Vilma. They played a huge role on our team last year. David McKellar, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't understand why people keep forgetting about David and underestimating
I
David.
agree. I
Like
agree, 100%.
if there is anything involving squatting, like nobody's beating him. And so he was another big reason that I came back to him and Matt, like getting to kind of run with them again, because I really enjoyed those two guys. Like, you know, I was new to the team last year, so like I made bonds with some of the guys. Not having Pat, I'm gonna miss it. Not having Pat on the team either. Pat Long, he was
Oh,
a
yeah.
funny dude.
He's
And
been
so
getting strong.
he, yeah,
I was like, "What are you doing? Like, this is
yeah.
the time to get back on the
He
grid."
wanted to focus on weightlifting, and I don't blame him.
Wow.
It was funny because David and I had. I mean, Dan could probably blame us for that one, but David and I were pushing the weightlifting hard with him all
Yeah.
season. We're like, dude, you got to give weightlifting a shot. You got to give weightlifting a shot. And then I taught a USA. I teach coaching courses for USA weightlifting.
Mhm.
I taught a course at his gym in January, and I think, you know, finally, and I remember texting David. I was like, I think I finally put the bug in him. And then he's like, yeah, I'm not coming back. I was like, well, shoot. Like, I was like, sorry, Dan. I feel like that was on us.
That's crazy. Honestly, weightlifting is, like, so close to my heart, and I
Yeah.
can't blame him, but I can never do grid. If I had the opportunity and, like, the skill set to do grid,
Yeah.
I would do it. Even if I could just do, like, the first bar of every ladder and you just sign me to that, like, put me in.
Yeah. And that's what I try to explain to people too, because like I I was writing down my workouts one day, or I posted a video of me working on some mirror work, and I wrote like hang snatches, and the amount of weightlifters in my DMs being like, that was not a hang snatch. I was like, I
Oh my
know.
god.
I was like, but for grid it works. Like,
It's sacrilege.
yeah. It's and that was when I did. So I did that SAGL back in 2015, 2016.
Uh-huh.
It was a minor league for the pro league, and it was based in the Carolinas and stuff like that. And I remember my first year, that was something I had to get over, was this like weightlifting stuff. Whether it was like my setup on the ladders, like I the first year I was getting crushed on ladders because I was taking too long to set up. Touch and go work was something that I wasn't used to, like going fast, like just in general, like the repeated like reps and stuff like that, the bouncing off the quads for like the hang cleans and the hang snatches and stuff. I couldn't figure that out for like that first year. And then it was like that off season where the coaches that we had were like, you've got to forget weightlifting. Like it's not the same. It's you've got to do it grid way. And I did. Justin Kotler was a big one. Justin Kotler pulled me aside because they also did that that invitational. I don't know if you remember that invitational they did in Anaheim, where it was essentially the pro league. The pro league put together this amateur tournament, and teams from like all over the country. I had just moved back to Chicago, so I was on the team from Chicago, and these teams all came to Anaheim. It was the kind of like how we do our championship weekend. It was like the semifinals and the finals, but then in between was kind of like how you guys do grid 6. Like
Okay.
they did this tournament that was in between everything. And so we did that, and that was when I got to like meet some of the coaches and talk to some. That's where I met Mather. Dan was another one I met through that tournament originally and stuff. And it was cool to, you know, talk to all those guys. And Justin was the first one. Like, he was like, look, he goes, you're strong. He goes, but you're slow as shit. Like, he goes, you need to move faster. So it's been really cool to kind of get back into it after a couple of years off of doing a bunch of other things and stuff like that. And this year, like, I got a training session in a little bit here after once you and I are done, my last one before I leave. And like, I'm excited. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. I'm glad you feel that way because I definitely do. I actually met Justin Kotler in Vegas.
Yeah.
I don't know much about what grid used to be just because it's such like a hard deep dive. Like when you actually like try to look through like the history and everything. But what a cool guy. And his daughter is also a beast.
Oh, Ivy's awesome.
You can crush like
yeah.
most people at like all her handstand stuff. Like she's a gymnast. I was like, she's gonna be
anytime you want to learn about like the way the leagues were and stuff like that, I'd be more than happy. Like that's kind of the nice thing about being one of the older guys or whatever in the sport. Like I did like the first, like one of the first pro days that they did. I did the minor leagues that they had. They had a couple of leagues. There was like 3 or 4 leagues throughout the country that were all set up. And that's how I met some of the guys that we added this year, like Kawika Henderson, who this is his first year in the grid league. I met him through like these pro days and stuff like that. That was how I met him. So like when Dan told me that they were talking about signing him, he reached out to me because we'd been friends for this whole time. We kind of chatted and stuff. And he messaged me. He's like, "Are you doing this?" I was like, "Are you?" And so he's somebody I'm really finally excited. Like I've gone against him in formats and races and stuff like that. I've never gotten a chance to run with him. I'm really excited to get to finally be on the floor with him and stuff like that. And I think he's going to be a nice addition. I think he's going to fill kind of that gap that is left by Blake and Griffin and Pat and the barbell stuff. Like he'll be a nice complement between me, him, David, and Matt. I think we've got a nice like 4 group of guys in terms of like the strength side of stuff like that.
100%. I'm really excited to see it. I do feel a little bit of, I don't know what to call it, I'm just reminiscing about like the old championship wild, just because like these are faces that I've known for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, a few of them are new, but like Patrick and RJ Hibbard, like when I think of the wild, like those are those guys, and
100%.
like how new the wild is. And I'm thinking back to our conversations that we had last season about how you'd be like, yeah, like we're the biggest team in the league. And
Our guys, I think our guys are bigger now. Like, I mean, we
bigger now. I was about to ask, what do you
like
think?
our average. Like, so like last
Okay.
year, like I joked around. I think it was you and I were talking about this, like
Yeah.
because you can only have like your 5 guys to start the
Mhm.
match or whatever. And last year, I think it was in our semifinal match against the Aces,
Mhm.
our starting 5, like you weren't going to get a bigger starting 5. Matt Cable is around like 265, 275. I was 290. David was like 255, some 250, something like that. Griffin was like 240. Pat was like 240. Blake was the smallest one, and he was like 220.
And everybody's fast, like
Yeah,
big
yeah,
and fast as
yeah.
heck.
So
Like,
it was just like having your own little like I always joked around, it's like you're starting 5 on a rugby pitch. Like that was
yeah,
your front 5 or whatever. That was us last year as
the
a team.
juggernauts.
But like Kawik is a big dude, and then you got me, David, and Cable again. Like it's a lot of fun. And then but I think we needed to change in that sense because it bit us in the butt in a couple of matches because we had so many big guys. We didn't have enough gymnastics to go around. Like Tyler and RJ were it. And
Yeah,
like they got ran into the ground last year in terms of the gymnastics. So it's nice. We have Raphael who's on the team this year. He's a really good all around utility guy. Devin, I know, apologizing guys if I don't mention your name. Like some of you I haven't met yet and everything like that. But we've got a lot of new gymnasts on the team. Good all around guys. And like from what I saw at training camp, like they're picking up real quick. They're really like gelling, and that's the thing I think that's going to be different between the 2 teams. Is I think this year, and this is not meant in a negative way at all. I just think this year's team is going to gel quicker than
yeah,
last year's team. Last year's team really didn't gel till we got our butt whipped by the Aces in that first match, or not first match, the second match of the year. Like that butt whipping that we took from the Aces, where we kind of imploded on ourselves. We didn't start gelling together as a group until after that match, and
yeah.
I don't think it's going to take us that long this year.
It's always a different kind of bonding when you bond over getting, whooped.
Well, I mean, like full disclosure, we thought we were the shit. Like we did not think we thought we were going to do what the Sharks did. Like we
Yeah,
thought we were going to run the table, not be challenged whatsoever. And even against the match against the Venom, like we made a ton of mistakes. That first opening match, we made a ton of mistakes, and like and we let them score more points than we thought we would, and that should have been a warning sign there. But because we won by such a significant margin, we went into that Aces match thinking like there was nothing that we could do wrong. And literally from the first match, we were making mistake after mistake after mistake, and they just kept piling on. And Taylor is Taylor with that team. Like they're just very polished, they're very clean, they don't make mistakes. And because we made a ton of them, like we ended up getting it handed to us. And that was kind of the wake-up call that whole group needed, because I feel like on a talent level, that was a very talented group of athletes. We just didn't know how to operate as a team.
yeah. That makes sense. Especially if, I mean, everybody's kind of in different places. I mean, especially now for the Wild, no?
Yeah,
Like, because at least last year it was a lot of people in Georgia, but
yeah,
now kind of
we're all over.
everybody's all over the
Yeah,
place.
like Jimmy was a nice like we signed Jimmy mid-season. She played with us in Vegas,
Yeah,
and now
I
she's on
remember.
the team full time and stuff like that. Like she's been a great addition. She's not down and she just moved from Vegas to Florida. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on Bryn is the one. Bryn was one I didn't realize I had been following Bryn for a while. She's a games athlete. She was on a team a couple times and stuff like that. I've been following her this entire time, and then when they signed her, I was like, I know this girl. And then like I started like checking her stuff, and I was like, oh shit, like she's going to be a good, a real interesting one to watch too, and stuff like that. That's the thing I'm excited the most about. I feel like we've got like 2 or 3 rookie of the year candidates on our team. Like that's just how good they are. So like I'm super excited for this group, and like I get the best seats in the house. Like I do not hide my abilities. Like I'm a hole filler. I told Dan that. I was like, just I know, excuse me, I know my place. I'm not going to be in every race because there's just a lot I can't do, body weight wise and stuff like that. But like I know the few things I'm good at. I'm like, so if it's going to allow, you know, Kawika and Devin and Matt to be able to do other stuff, like put me in and I'll handle, you know, what I need to handle in terms of heavy barbells and the odd objects and stuff like that. And but like other than that, like I'm just gonna be on the side. Me and David are just going to be sitting there on the sidelines cheering everybody else on and, you know, screaming our heads off and stuff. Like I get a front row ticket to watch these younger guys and girls tear it up on the grid, and I'm excited for it.
That's awesome. I really like that mentality too, because I think it's especially important for grid, just because it's not. I mean, there's definitely superstars, you know, like on
Mhm.
every team. Um, but it's just as important to realize like your place as an athlete and to just
Yeah,
like fit it out. Like
and that,
you've leaned out a lot, but you're not doing Jack and Jill. You know
no,
what I mean?
that was the thing. That was the thing that like when Dan, so like most people don't know. Like I said, Dan and I knew each other for years. The how we met or like I said right, we met each other in Anaheim for that tournament that was there.
Right.
And then after that, he and I were kind of talking back and forth. And so I got drafted by the New York Rhinos the following year. He was a coach on the Miami team. And how it went was Miami was trying to trade for me. Essentially, New York drafted me because they didn't want other teams. Like we had a lot of barbell guys. We had Andrew Rape, Wes Kitts, Nick Block, Easy Muhammad. Like they had a murder's row of barbell guys. They did not need me. They just didn't want anybody else to have me. And so,
Right.
so Miami was trying to trade for me because they had a guy get hurt. So they needed another barbell guy. So Miami was trying to bring me over. Dan was involved in that. They just couldn't get a deal done. So I ended up sitting at home that year because they didn't need me on the team. I was just, you know, just holding the roster spot in case somebody got hurt. And then years later, I was training for strongman nationals, and Dan on his the search page on your Instagram saw one of my videos of doing yoke. And this was right after one of the matches where they didn't perform as well in that ringer as he would have hoped.
Right.
And so he messages me. He's like, "Hey man," he goes, "I had no idea you were still training. Like, how's it going? I'm with this team, the Wild. Like, we're in the Grid League. It's still a thing in Florida. I saw your strongman video. We're starting to incorporate a lot more strongman elements. Like, would you be interested in playing?" And so when him and I talked, I said flat out, I was like, "I am not the guy that you tried trading for." Like at that point, like I was able to do muscle ups, handstand walks, handstand push-ups. Like I had completely like bought in. But
This is
since
not
that
the
time,
Tom you're looking for.
well, yeah, it's now the time you're looking for. I told him flat out, I was like, look, I was like, I can move some barbells for you. I can move some odd objects. I was like, but you asked me to do anything on a pull-up bar or rings, like it's not happening. And he's like, I just need you for ladders and odd objects. I was like, okay, cool. Like it was a complete different maturity for me. I was like, I know I'm not, I was like, if you're trying to bring me onto your team to be a superstar, like it's not happening. I will be the best little Indian and bench player, like support role ever. I was like, but do not put me in that superstar type role. I said, because it's not going to work because I don't have that wide of a skill set anymore.
Speaking of your skill set, I mean, give yourself some flowers though, because you've improved a lot. You've gotten a lot faster.
Yeah.
you've like definitely got a lot fitter. What has your training been like in the off season, I guess, to like have you been changing things just for grid, or are you just competing in like your weightlifting, strongman, Highland
So,
Games kind of stuff?
so my main sport is Highland Games, and I'm not going to lie to you, grid complements my Highland Games stuff a lot. My problem in the Highland Games is I always lifted too heavy,
Mm,
and it would have like I don't necessarily need to be like lighter, but I definitely needed to be faster. So like about 2 years ago, I started playing around with like velocity based training, essentially like your intent when you're lifting versus like how heavy you were going. And
okay.
then when I got into the grid stuff, it was like I don't want this to come off any other way outside of just how it is for me personally. Everything in grid is way too light for me. Like it's I don't think I think the only thing that is close, and by I say close is like I'm talking like 80% or above of my max is the push press ladder.
Heck yeah.
Everything else is like significantly lighter. Like I mean, doing hang
That
snatch,
ladder is nasty.
that ladder that's my favorite ladder.
Yeah.
Um, but like it's a lot of the stuff is a lot lighter. So what it just I had to focus on, which is I knew like you take somebody like a Griffin Raleigh, right? He's a little bit smaller than I am, but like he can move the same weight so much faster as a result. So like I just spent this last year um just focusing on just being faster with lighter weights. Like I have not maxed out since before last grid season. I know I joked around about how I wanted to push my clean because that was my big concern was my front rack position because strongman really tightened up my front rack and I
Yeah.
was nervous about a lot of the clean stuff in grid because I was like I don't know if I'm going to get like no reps for my elbows not being through or anything along those lines. So I put a lot of work into my front rack mobility, said I wanted to like push my clean and see how heavy I could clean, but like I haven't. I don't think I've done a clean over 315 since before last year and stuff like that. I've just been
Yeah, me
focusing.
neither.
Yeah, right. I've just been focusing on moving faster with everything. The big thing that I changed from last year to or like I started doing it leading into last year, but like in the off season, so to speak, is I did some sort of conditioning after I like whether it was a Metcon, like jumping in with a CrossFit class or doing them on my own. I even went to the gym on my own multiple times during a week. Like I worked at a Lifetime Fitness and then I worked at a CrossFit and then I had my own garage gym as well. But like I would go to the gym on my own just to do a Metcon. And that is like earth shattering for some of my buddies there because they're like, wait, you did what?
Yeah.
So that's my big thing was like my overall, like I even jumped on the Whoop bandwagon. I got a Whoop to
Oh.
start tracking like my sleep and my HRV a little bit better. But yeah, it's the things that I neglected for a long time because of the sports that I was in before, like strongman, the weightlifting, stuff like that. So like been doing a lot more work on like my mobility stuff. I move a little bit better. I've got a little bit of an ankle injury from last year that I'm still dealing with, but like for the most part, my big focus this offseason has been my conditioning because I never had a match where I was worried about like being out of shape or out of breath or anything like that. But I just knew that like there's a possibility, like because we all talk throughout the season, like I knew there was a possibility some of the guys weren't coming back. So like that was going to mean that my workload was going to increase and I needed the capacity in the base to be able to handle like Dan Flattel has said, like, if it comes to it, you're going to do probably 2 quadrants in most of the mirrors. So, like, I need to be ready for that. Last year, David and I did that in the back squat and we crushed it. Squatting is my jam. But like some of the other stuff, I just don't necessarily, it's not that I couldn't do it. I just wouldn't be able to do it as fast as like the first quadrant. So that's a lot of the stuff I've been working on is my conditioning and my capacity work for the season. I still look the same. I'm still going to look like we joked around about like a giant tomato in my uniform rolling around out there. Like abs are not for me. I have tried even at like my absolute leanest. I was like 255 at one point and I still didn't have abs. It's just not a thing. So this body is for go, not show, and so it'll be good. Like like I said, I'm really excited about the season.
I can't tell you how much, like, that makes me happy. I mean, obviously, I have a lot of passion for the sport, and so
Yeah,
do a lot of people that are watching this. So, I'm sure a lot of people appreciate hearing, like, yeah, I changed so much to, like, play grid,
yeah.
and I have, like, that much respect for the sport and, like, that much passion for it because it just fires me up, man.
It's just, I
It's
mean,
just it's
it,
just the coolest.
Dan, like, and that's the thing too, is like I said, Dan and I are friends or something like that. Not something like that. Like, oh, like we're good friends.
Something like that.
And I don't want to let him down. You know what I'm saying? Like, he put a lot of faith bringing me onto the team last year. Like, I don't know how the team felt about it. I don't know how I was like received, you know, outside of my interactions and stuff. But Dan put a lot of faith in me last year, you know, to fill the gaps that they didn't have the year before. And I feel like I did a decent job of doing so. And then this year he's got me doing different stuff. Like I said, you know, my goal is to relieve some of the stress for Kawika and Devin and Raf and David and Matt and all those guys, so they can do other stuff. And on top of that, you know, kind of like help people along in terms of transitions. Like, hey, this is how I would prepare for this, or something like along those lines. Like, I just don't ever want to be the guy that like lets somebody down. So like I knew as soon as I told them I'd play again, like I started doubling up my efforts to make sure that I was in a good spot to like not let Dan down, because Dan's a good dude, and the amount of preparation and stuff that he puts into this team, like he deserves that same amount of effort in return.
That's awesome. By the way, guys, you don't know this, but Tom is standing up for this whole entire interview.
Yeah.
He just built a standing desk right before we started.
I really finished it 5 minutes before I got your email. I was like, hey, can you hop on for 5 minutes before? And I was like, yeah, sure. Literally finished it, and then like grabbed my computer, threw it on top, and turned on the live stream, and here we are.
I sit like chronically crisscross applesauce, so that personally sounds like hell. But I hope you're having a good time standing up.
Oh, I'm awesome. Right here.
Especially because it's time to get comfy and talk about this match on Saturday.
Yeah.
Tell me where your head's at.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was kind of bummed about the divisions. Like, our schedule's rough this year, and I kind of figured that was going to be the case. You know, like being the defending champs and stuff like that. And it didn't matter who we played. Everybody was going to give us our best effort. Everybody was going to want to say they beat us. I was kind of intrigued that they put this match as the first one of the year. Like, I had a feeling like we wanted to play the Sharks last year. Like, we talked about it before the championship match. Like, we wanted the Sharks. We felt like we were the two best teams, you know, to start the league and stuff like that. I feel like the championship match was very, it was nice. Like for me personally, because I felt like the Wild were definitely, nobody gave us a chance to beat the Sharks. And like, we whooped them pretty good. Like, we came out, I think we won the first 6.
Pretty good.
Yeah. I think we came out, won the first 6. Like, to the point where we didn't even have to do a race. And I'm not saying that to brag. That was our plan the entire time, was to not do that race. It wasn't a bragging or a boasting thing. We had enough injuries that it wasn't going to be worth it for us to do that race. So we were going to throw that race no matter what. Yeah. But I just think it was really surreal for us that we didn't need it. And so I just don't think anybody gave us a chance for that championship match. And I don't think people are giving us any sort of, like, I think people think we're going to get absolutely destroyed in this first match. And I'm not one of those to ever sit there and like guarantee a win or a victory. I just don't think it's going to be as easy for the Sharks as everybody is thinking it's going to be. And I'm looking forward to going against Blake. Blake and I, probably out of everybody on the team last year that I bonded with the most, Blake and I, like, we still talk. Like, I texted him last night. He sent me something last night. We were texting back and forth. But Blake and I got along because he loved my smack talk. He would laugh. Like, there's a lot that you can't hear on the grid floor, because, like, especially from your announce table or from the crowd or whatever. But like, I talked a lot of crap to the other teams. It was all.
Do you? I didn't know that.
I say some off the wall stuff. I got 3 brothers. I'm the runt of the litter. And so it's just one of those situations where, like, I had to use my skill sets to get the upper hand on my siblings growing up, because, like I said, they were all bigger than I was. So, like, my mouth developed pretty quickly, and I'm very sarcastic. I like to talk smack and stuff like that. And that's just always been my way. And so Blake appreciated being on my side of the smack talk, but that was definitely That was definitely one of the things that we discussed when he said that he was going to the Sharks, and I decided I was going to come back. He's like, I'm not going to look forward to the first time you run your mouth at me, but he's already been doing it to me as well. So it'll be
I know,
nice.
I've seen his comments on your
Oh
stuff.
yeah. And I'll pipe right back and stuff like that. It's one of those situations where I'm looking forward to the match. I think it's going to be a really close match. I like that it's the same format that we did in the championship match. Yeah, that's it pretty much. Like I said, I don't think people are giving us much of a chance at all. I think they think we're going to get curb stomped in this one, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Like I said, we're a different team than the championship team, but we're better in a lot of areas that we were not as good in last year. So it'll make things interesting. That's all I can truly say about it.
For sure. This is the coach and owner of the Sharks, Mike Tom up for the Smack Talk. So
FICO, listen, FICO is an
Fico.
Fico, sorry. I just keep giving him a hard time about his name. He is an instigator. I don't know if he told you, he was trying to get me to Moss wrestle him. Yeah. So in Vegas, another sport that I've done in the past is Moss wrestling.
Mouse wrestling. Explain.
Yeah. Stick wrestling. So you got two people that there's a board. They sit with their feet here, and then there's a stick in the middle, and you each start with your hands on the stick. The referee says go, and you either have to pull the stick out of the person's hand or pull the person over.
I've seen that.
Yeah, and when Fico was Gomez was giving me a hard time about it in Vegas, I got 3 or 4 texts from him. He's like, "Hey man, Moss wrestling boards, nobody's sitting over there. You want to go?" I'm like, I got a match. Knock it off. He was instigating.
Trying to mess you up.
It was last year was the first time he and I had really talked and stuff like that. Yeah, see, there he goes. I see that. Yeah, and then I never showed up. He's an instigator through and through, and that's the thing I like about the league is I do love the smack talk that goes on. They posted a thing about pizza, wanting us to buy their pizzas and stuff. Blake then sent me the post and everything. I responded, and nobody from the Sharks responded to me. I threw down I doubled up on their challenge and whatever, and I pretty much said, I was like, whoever has the fastest split between the two teams on the ladder and the mirror, I said, I'll send them a Lou Malnati's pizza, because I don't know Florida pizza all that well, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's not that great.
Wait. No, sorry. We have
I'm from Chicago.
No, sorry. I've never had Chicago pizza, so I'm not going to speak on your pizza. But you're going to come and you're going to go to Ray's Pizza, and you're going to try a Cuban pizza, and you're going to tell me that it's not good.
Okay, no. Cuban food is amazing. I will take your word for it on that. They can't mess up pizza that bad. But yeah, they were talking about how they wanted us to buy the whole team pizza and stuff. I said, no, I said, I'll send you guys some legit pizza for the person who has the fastest split on the ladder and the mirror. And they never responded. So I don't know what their deal is there. They're really active on social media, but all of a sudden when people start chirping back, they got quiet.
Fico said Cuban pizza is the worst, and I just want to go on the record officially and from the league's official perspective. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. But Cuban pizza is amazing, and please try it.
Absolutely. No, it's going to be good. Like I said, I'm looking forward to the match. I like that we're the last match. Yeah, the Sharks, I'm not going to lie to you. The Sharks, they added a ton of talent. I know Chris Matos. He's another strongman I've competed with and stuff like that. He's a heck of an athlete. Nick Shappy was, I think, second, or they had a runoff vote for the MVPs and everything last year. Jess and Sammy, their team is just a bunch of killers. So them adding Kelsey, Blake, and Chris alone, it makes them just even more deep in their respective fields and stuff like that. And so they're probably right now, I would say, if I had to put money on it, I think them and the Breakers are the most well-rounded teams. They look on paper to be the odds on two to meet up in the championship, but we'll see. That's why we play the whole season.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, I feel we felt like we were in that spot last year, but a lot of people didn't give us a chance. And then we ended up doing really well, winning the whole thing. So I'm excited for that first round match. I already warned Dan, I'm going to go early because I want to watch some of these other teams. Like I want to see how the Aces and Lions do with their new team up that they've got going on. We've got the Bandits. I'm curious to see how that team comes together and how they do stuff. The Venom are redone, and they've got West Kits, and they've got a lot of bangers on their team now. I'm really curious to see how everybody's doing. I'm just a fan of the sport as a whole, so I'm probably going to be hanging out for a little bit, watching some of these matches go on, because it's just opening weekends is super exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about it. I said this in my preview show. For your match, I have the Sharks just because I
That's
don't know
fine.
too much about your team. And I know that the Sharks
Yeah.
were really dominant last season.
Yeah.
And not that you guys didn't give them, the business during the championship,
But I
but
mean, we don't have 6 people from that team.
right. And I'm excited. I never said it was gonna be a whooping though. I
Yeah.
never said that you guys didn't have a chance. I'm going on the record. But I think it's gonna be a good one. I'm excited to watch it for sure, especially to see how the teams come
Yeah.
together. Just because there's so many rookies this season, like
Yeah.
everywhere.
I feel like I thought last year there was a ton of rookies across the league, but this year I feel like that number's like doubled.
Absolutely, especially we have a brand new team that's completely full of rookies,
Yeah.
and
But
our league is just getting bigger, and it's really cool to see. I think this is hands down the most competitive season that we've had,
yeah, I mean,
at least as long as I've been a part of Grid League.
I don't think there's going to be an undefeated team this year for sure, based
Yeah.
on how the divisions are set up this year. Like I was like, I mean, our schedule in particular, like I was joking around with Dan, like we can end up 2-2. We could also end up 0-4. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's just the way because we play the Sharks first, then the second matches were against the Lions. With their, like I said, they merged with the Aces, or some of the players from the Aces and stuff like that. We play the Palms and then the Breakers, that double header weekend in Dallas. And like the Palms are always in the mix with things as well. We didn't play them last year, and we played the Breakers. The Breakers have completely overhauled their team as well. Like we could very well go 0-4. We can end up 2-2, maybe 3-1, 1-3. Like you flip a coin any of those weekends. But like I said, I don't think anybody's going undefeated next year or this year, leading up to the championship. You're gonna have a couple of nicks on your record going into it.
If you can choose, besides your team, a standout team that would give you some trouble.
It'll give us some trouble?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think all 3 of the teams that we're playing. The Sharks obviously would be like the no-brainer, but I'll kind of go out on a limb. I think the Breakers are going to be a problem for everybody this year. Josh Newell is another person that I kind of bonded with, throughout the season. I talked to him probably outside of Blake, I talked to Josh the most. And I think Josh is a dark horse for it. I think he's a strong candidate for strength athlete of the year. If Blake doesn't win it, I think Josh should be the next person right now off the top of my head to win it. But Josh, I think based on all the other stuff that he can do as well, he might be a dark horse candidate for MVP based on how the Breakers do. Like he's put in some work this year. It's been fun to watch him. I've helped him out with a couple of different things in terms of like some of the strongman implements and stuff like that. But I think the Breakers are going to be a problem for everybody this year.
I have to agree with you. I'm really excited to see how the Breakers put it together. They have everything that you could need.
Yeah.
As far as strength, utility, gymnastics, body weight, all of that stuff. And they have people that can do everything.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be super exciting to watch. Which match is the Breakers for you? Is that you?
They're our very last match of the year. So we play that doubleheader weekend in Dallas. We play the Palms day.
Oh, sorry, in Dallas.
Yeah, we play the Palms day 1, and we play the Breakers day 2. And like Josh and I have talked about it, like the way the season could go, because they've got a tough schedule too this year. But like the way the season could go, like that match could be like deciding who gets like one of the last spots in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Between like the Wild and the Breakers and stuff, and it's a match for, and it's a match. It's my favorite match format. It's the one we did in the first week last year with the back squat mirror, the wall, the sandbag over the wall, the tank sled push and all of that stuff. That was
Oh, okay.
the
Gotcha.
farmers carries and the triad, the arm over arm drag and all that stuff. Like that's the match we play the breakers. And so like that's my favorite format. Josh was saying the same thing and
That's
everything.
gonna be a good one
Yeah,
for you.
that'll be a fun match. That's probably the match I'm most looking forward to this year. Like I love every one of our matches. I just love grid as a whole. Like I said, I'm a fan of the sport, but like from a personal standpoint, the match format that I am the most looking forward to is that one against the Breakers at the end of the year, because there's going to be a lot on the line for that match.
That's gonna be really interesting. How do you think? If you had to describe yourself as a grid athlete in a word,
In a word,
in a word, a
ooh,
single word, or a fun catchphrase. I'll give you a fun catchphrase.
fun catchphrase. I mean, honestly, like if I were to use a word, I would just use the word Indian. Like, you know what I'm saying? On a team, you've got your Chiefs and you got your Indians. Like, I am an Indian through and through. Like, I'll do whatever. Like, that was part of the reason why I did Dan's podcast in like February or so, or March or something like that. And he asked flat out, "Are you coming back?" And I was like, if I have something that the Wild feel like can benefit them, and I'm not taking a roster spot away from somebody who could better fit their needs, then I'll come back. But like, if they just were like, "Hey man, there's only so much you can do. We've got this person that we want to put in that like that final roster spot that can do so much more." Like, no hard feelings. Like, my feelings wouldn't be hurt. So like, Indian would probably be like the best word I would use. Like, whatever they need me to do this year, I'm gonna do it. And if that's nothing, that's nothing.
Before we got on today, you told me you were Polish and Native American.
Polish
What kind of
Indian,
Native American are you?
Cherokee Indian.
Cherokee Indian?
Yeah, my mom's side. My mom's side is from the area of Hard Scratch, Kentucky. It's not on the map. It's literally one of those towns that has like a one post office, one gas station, a couple stoplights, and that's about it. But yeah, right there in the Cumberland Gap is where my mom's family's from. My grandpa's 50% Cherokee Indian.
That is really cool.
Yeah, when they did the whole Trail of Tears thing and pushed everybody out, a bunch of my relatives decided to take wives and significant others and stuff like that. So they stayed back and married into the family and things like that. So that's how I got on my mom's side.
Interesting. How is your like cultural upbringing, I guess? Like what is
So my dad's straight off the boat Polish. He was first generation born here. So his family immigrated from Krakow and they lived in the meatpacking district on the south side of Chicago. And so like my dad was born and raised in Chicago his entire life. My mom was born down in Kentucky, and then their family moved up to Chicago when she was real little, and so she spent most of her life on the south side of Chicago as well. So like I grew up as a south side kid, White Sox fan, unfortunately, Notre Dame, Chicago Bears. Like I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and so it like Chicago's a big melting pot, and I think that was kind of like it like your culture, your ethnicity didn't really matter all that much. Like I went to a middle school where I was one of 4 white guys. Like I got invited to so many barbecues and quinceañeras in middle school and stuff like that. Like it was just I had a nice upbringing in terms of like I got exposed to a lot of different cultures, a lot of different things growing up in the city of Chicago. And so like when I kind of went and I've lived in a bunch of different places. I've lived in California, North Carolina, South Carolina. Now I live in Colorado. Like just being exposed to those different groups of people and stuff like that has been pretty cool. You get to learn about the different cultures and stuff like that. So I don't really like, I don't sit there and be like, yeah, like I don't like have Polska tattooed on me or anything like that, but I am Polish and proud of it and stuff like that. My family, my dad's family all speaks it and I can understand what they're saying. I just don't speak it myself. And then recently with the Native American stuff, about 4 or 5 years ago, I started kind of exploring that, looking into our family. That's how I found out how how Native American got into our family lineage and stuff like that. And it was just essentially, I don't know if it was people were just, horny or just like or whatever the deal was, but it was just during the Trail of Tears when they pushed people out, they decided to take on significant others, both male and female. And that's, how that came to be.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that you were Native American. You did tell me that you were Polish because I remember I took a trip to Pittsburgh for weightlifting
Yeah,
nationals,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you're like, "Let's eat pierogies."
I
And
get
then I
some
tried
pierogies.
pierogies, and it was a magical
Oh,
experience,
great.
to say the very least.
Yeah. I feel like it was the first time I went down to Miami to help at a weightlifting CrossFit course, and one of my friends, Lulu Truskowski, she's married now, but at the time she was a games athlete and stuff like that. She took me to my first Cuban restaurant. And I feel it's the same thing. Like the first time I had Cuban food, I was like, this is a magical experience. So like anytime I go anywhere that like when I travel, that's probably the biggest positive about being down in Florida for the Grid League is like last year the championship weekend was in Fort Lauderdale. We went to this like it's kind of like a mall thing, but it was a big eatery, and it had a bunch of different like restaurants or
Or like a
whatever.
food hall?
Yeah. There's a Cuban place there. I went there. I ordered there like almost every night that we were there. We went there 2 nights in a row. That place was amazing. So Polish food is spot on. If you're ever in like Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh's a big place with a lot of big Polish population. Chicago obviously is a really big one. Anywhere in the Midwest, you'll find a lot of big Polish bakeries. You get yourself a Polish bakery, especially if it's run by a little old Polish lady, like you're going to be taken care of.
I know, I'm jealous. We don't I literally when we came back from Pittsburgh, I was Googling, like, pierogies in Miami, and, like, they don't exist.
I have
Not really.
I got a cookbook sitting right over there with my mom's recipe. I'll screenshot it and send it to you after we get off this call.
I'll try my very best. I'm not the best chef.
Listen, I made it. I made it I made it for Christmas this year. I made a bunch of them. They're great.
What made you move to Colorado, though? Because we didn't get to touch base on that. You mentioned it earlier, but you were living in
I was in Raleigh, yeah, for 3 years.
okay.
That kind of just ran its course there. I'm seeing a girl out here, and like USA Weightlifting is headquartered out here. Like I'm a strength and conditioning coach, and it's just for those who don't know, Colorado Springs has a lot in terms like the National Strength and Conditioning headquarters is out here. USA Weightlifting is out here. The Air Force Academy, which has one of the top strength and conditioning programs in the country, is out here. There's a lot of military bases and stuff like that. And like I said, my girlfriend lives out here as well. So I just it was just time for I don't have kids or anything like that. I most of my work that I do is remote from home, so I'm very fortunate that I can kind of pack up and move, whenever I see fit and stuff like that. And Colorado's just I also selfishly like I love the mountains. I like hiking, I like camping and all that stuff, and this feeds my soul, and it fits like what I want to do in my spare time. So the older I get, the more I'm just kind of spending time doing the things I really want to do versus the things that I am, that people tell you that you have to do. So it was a kind of a nice little culmination of things that came together at the right time. So I'm out here now.
That's awesome. You're very mountains to me, by the way. Like you
Yeah.
said that, I'm like, oh, Tom is so mountains.
I got
But
I got the flannel shirts and everything. Yeah.
that weightlifting facility, it looks sick. I haven't been. I've been to the actual Olympic Center, and I
Yeah.
got to watch people training for bobsled for the Winter
Yeah.
Olympics.
Yeah.
That was really, really cool
So
because I didn't even know what that was.
So the new weight room, that's a newer development. So like this is again dating myself, when I was competing in Olympic weightlifting, the original training center was a different setup than what they have now. That now it looks more like a college weight room.
Yeah.
And everything like that, and it's pretty cool. I've never been to the new facility yet. I was out here for a training camp a couple times. I was an alternate for the Pan Am team in 2014 and stuff like that. So I got to come out to a training camp then. I remember the old training facility for the OTC, but ever since USA Weightlifting decentralized it, they kind of went a little bit more commercial with the facility. But they just had a camp. They had a camp out here literally the week after I moved. And it was pretty cool, like watching all the athletes and stuff like that, and seeing that facility. Like it's a really nice facility, and it's more modern than what I'm used to. I'm used to the old grungy, dirty like basement of the YMCA facilities and stuff like that. It still takes me a little bit of getting used to being in these like newer fancy facilities with all the tech and fancy equipment and such.
Yeah. I guess put me in your head really quick. If you had to choose a sport, your favorite sport to compete in, and then your favorite sport to coach, and you can only pick one.
Oh man, you're gonna get me in trouble with my athletes. I will be honest. Like I have been very fortunate. Like I joke around that like I am probably the most all around strength athlete that you're going to come across. Like I said, I've competed at a high level at a variety of sports. Olympic weightlifting, I won the 2013 American Open. I was an All-American shot putter in college. I took fourth at the World Championships in Moss Wrestling one year. I competed in strongman. I was ninth at the Amateur Championships at the Arnold for strongman in 2022. I'm on the pro circuit for the Highland Games. Like that's my main thing. Like I love. It's really silly. I get paid to wear a kilt and flip telephone poles in the middle of a field with my buddies. Like it's the weirdest sport to say you're a professional in, but I am. And then I got back into grid. Like I did grid back when, back into the 14, 15, 16 era. I did it then. Really missed it. It was probably, and that was part of the big reason why I got back into grid. So all this to say, like my favorite sport right now to compete in is grid because it makes me a better all-around athlete. I love all of the different sports that I do, but it's just there's something about grid, and I think it's why I like grid and Highland Games so much. The only downside to the Highland Games is there's the training portion of it, and then there's like the throwing portion of it. So it's like you almost have to practice like two different sports. Whereas like grid, it's just one thing, but they both intrigue me and they speak to me because of the multiple like things that you have to master. Like Highland Games, there's 9 different events that you have to master and throw and perfect the technique. Grid, it's like for this match in particular, I've got 5 responsibilities that I've got to focus on for this match. It's not like weightlifting where it's just snatch, clean, and jerk every day and trying to get their snatch, clean, and jerk up. Like this match in particular, I've got to focus on my hang snatches. I've got to focus on throwing that bag over my head, some log work, the thruster ladder. And then the next match that we're doing, it's, we've got a snatch ladder, we've got the shoulder to overhead mirror, we've got, different things in that sense. Then then there's that other match, with the tank push and the farmer's carries and, the push presses. Like there's just always something different to challenge yourself. And for me last year, it brought me back to a efficiency standpoint. Like I had to work on my mobility because I let my mobility slide for a long time, especially with strongman. Strongman is literally how strong you are. And I let a lot of mobility stuff go, and grid kind of brought that back and stuff. And so like I felt my best in terms of being like an athlete, an all around athlete doing grid. So like I absolutely love competing in grid. That was a big reason why I came back too, is just like the training kept me honest. Like if I wasn't doing grid, like I wouldn't do extra conditioning work. Like, yes, I want to be healthier. Yes, I want to be fitter and all this other stuff. But like, if I didn't have that little thing in the back of my head saying like, if I don't do this conditioning work, somebody's going to, clap my ass on the grid. Like I've got to do these things that are going to keep me honest and accountable and stuff like that. So I like competing in grid the most. In terms of being a coach, man, I know somebody's going to message me after I say it. Probably weightlifting. I enjoy, and in particular, masters weightlifting. I am beyond fortunate. I coach a great group of masters weightlifters. Our women's team in particular, this is not, being bragging about it or, building it up more than it is. Like my women's team is probably one of the best teams in the country. We won 3 masters team titles from 2017, 18, 19. Then after that, they had the split. For those who don't know, there's been a split in masters weightlifting. So we haven't had everybody at a nationals, but like we're going to do it again. Like I've got so many world's medalists, national medalists, like record holders and stuff like that. Like I really love working with my masters weightlifting crew. Like they're a great group of humans that I get to coach every day. And, I've developed some really good friendships with those athletes, and they keep me honest as a coach and a athlete as well and stuff like that, because I won't make them do something that I either am not willing to do right now or haven't done myself. So coaching would be weightlifting. Competing would be grid.
That's really cool. I think weightlifting is a really cool mental sport. And I
Yes.
think everybody should try it at least once because in my opinion, which is biased, but I get to be because it's my opinion. Weightlifting is so impressive in what you have to like overcome, especially because you're competing against yourself.
Yeah, and the other thing too, I think the reason I'm drawn the most to masters is because they are strict. Like there is no, yes, they get medals and their world championships and stuff like that,
There's
but
no flowers.
there's no flowers. There's no incentive for them
Yeah.
to continue to beat themselves up like they do. They are genuinely there because they love it, and on top of it, like they've got to manage kids, relationships, work, all these other stresses. And it's not a knock on our Olympians and our younger athletes, but it's just, it's a lot easier to be very good at something when that is your sole focus in life.
Yes.
And it's just, it gets harder as you get older. And like my masters athletes, like some of the things that my masters athletes do, like I am blown away by. Like I've got some very impressive athletes, and they're tiny humans. Like I've got like three women in particular that are all like 5 foot or under. They're, they're like 40, one of them competed as a 45 kilo, another is a 55 kilo, another is like a 64 and a 71. Like I'm like, you are tiny humans lifting like ridiculous amounts of weight. Like it's just really cool. It's just really cool to watch.
It is really cool. I'm glad you said that because it's so true. Weightlifting is, and a lot of times it's a sport that you're not getting a whole lot of attention for. And people are always like, oh, what is that? What do you bench? Like,
Oh,
no.
I still get it all the time. And I like, my favorite thing is like, I just say flat out, I'm like, I don't know. I could not tell you the last time I bench press. Like I'm an overhead and a lower body kind of guy.
I can snatch like 15 kilos more than I could bench press.
Yeah.
And that's like pretty crazy.
Oh
But
yeah. It's funny, but yeah, it's just how it is.
I have to get on my bench press game and do some push-ups and stuff. But
No, just do, like, honestly, what helped my overhead the most was
tell me.
when I started getting ready for grid and doing handstand work. Like I'm one
Oh
of the,
yeah, totally,
I'm,
right?
I'm one of those weird dudes where like I can cycle strict handstand push-ups faster than kipping. So I learned how to strict first. I cannot get the timing down. It was the same thing with pull-ups. I could glide kip a pull-up, but I could not butterfly. The timing of it, like my body just did not know what it was doing in the little rotation of the
Yeah.
butterfly.
But that's like really impressive.
But
That
like
sounds like so difficult.
like, I could still do like strict handstand push-ups, not near as many as I used to be able to do because I have a torn tricep, but I can
Yeah.
still knock out sets of 5, sets of 10 on those. But that helped my snatching and my jerk, my overhead positions more than anything, was just that overloading of those inversion exercises like handstand walks, handstand push-ups, stuff like that.
That's really interesting. Are you still working with a torn tricep right now?
Yeah.
Oh, how's your lockout feeling?
Oh, I mean, we had people in the league last year complain about it, but it's fine. Like it's one of those like it's I tore the muscle, not the tendon.
Okay.
And how I did it was the stupidest. I literally did it 2 months before the season started.
Last season.
Yes.
Okay.
I was literally just, I was warming up, doing box jumps, and I was like resting on the corner of a box, like had my foot on the top of the box, was leaning on my knee. And I have no idea how I did it, but like I leaned too far forward and the box flipped up to me. And so to prevent it from hitting me in the knee, I put my hand out to stop the block. And as soon as it hit my hand, I felt like a zing up my arm. And so like I have a hole like right back here, but like, so this head is completely attached. This head is not, but the tendon is still intact.
Oh wow.
So like the only thing it really affects is like my overhead stability. So that's why
Okay.
that's why I started muscle snatching everything, because like I don't have the stability to stop it in that overhead position with a true snatch. So
Right.
I have better control in a muscle snatch. But like
You like go over kind of thing? Like you
yeah,
over
it just doesn't hold. And so I'm working on it. That was the other thing I did a lot this offseason. I did a ton of tricep accessory work with dumbbells and machines and things like that, just to kind of build up the strength and stability the best I could in my rear delt and my triceps and stuff like that. But like I was able to clear the clean and jerk ladder, the snatch ladder, the thruster ladder, and the push press ladder last year. Like I just did the thruster ladder a couple times through on Tuesday. Like it doesn't affect it. Like I can get the work done.
That's scary. And
Yeah, I'll show you the hole in my arm.
please,
Like
I want to see
you
it.
don't notice it unless you're looking at like the one side and then you look at the other and you're like, oh yeah, that's different.
I kind of love looking at like gross things, like
It's
things that
not
aren't like
it's,
supposed to be
it's not
like that.
gross. It's not gross like per se. Like you
Right,
see
right, right,
it like most people have like a horseshoe in their tricep.
right.
Mine looks like a shooting
Like
star.
me.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, that one right there. But now mine just looks like a shooting star and just stops up there.
crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna take a picture of it and post it on the Gridlock podcast
There you
so
go.
people can see it. So Saturday,
Saturday,
6:30,
6:30.
Sharks.
They better be there. Blake better be there.
They better be there. They better
Oh,
show
better
up.
be there. Yeah. No,
Closing thoughts.
what's up?
Closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts.
What are you thinking? Where's your head at? Most looking forward to.
I'm
I'm just
most
throwing a
looking
bunch of prompts at you now.
I don't know
Answer
if
how you
I'm
want.
most looking forward to the mirror. I'm gonna say this. I said this last year. I've said it all this entire time. Blake is probably the strength specialist, the best strength guy in the league. Nobody last year moved a barbell faster than he did
Yeah.
in anything. His splits on the ladder were ridiculous.
His ladder was crazy.
His splits on the mirror were insane. He was a much needed add for the Sharks in that department. I think he's going to be a difference maker for them in terms of like their split times on the ladders and the mirrors and stuff like that. But I don't know. He can't do all four quadrants. So I think he can't do all four quadrants, and I know I'm confident between our three guys that we can keep up.
Give me a taste of your smack talk on the grid for the Sharks.
For the
Just
Sharks.
just a little one. Just Shark specific.
Oh, the Shark specific. I mean, I'll just tell you what I told him about the pizza thing. I said flat out that I don't pay for pizza for people that weigh under 220. Like you got to be 220 plus to sit at my table.
Yeah, bro. They're gonna leave their crust on the table.
They're gonna leave the crust on the table. They're gonna pull out their scales and measure it and everything. Like they care more about looking like good underwear models than they do about being strength athletes. So
the Sharks are underwear models, dude.
They are, except I feel bad. Like I empathize. I shouldn't say feel bad. I empathize for my boy Chris. I want to be there during the media thing when he has to put on his uniform because I think he's gonna have an existential crisis like I did last year.
The rookie shock.
The rookie shock of like when Dan handed me the jersey and it was like, I was like, Dan, that's not gonna fit. He goes, it stretches. I was like, I understand that, but I was like, and I just remember putting it on, being like, I hate. Like, I mean, they laughed at us last year when we had to wear those vests. Everybody's vest covered their torso like all the way. Mine was like a bib. It stopped right here, and so like I empathize with my boy Chris because
Are you gonna give him like a warning about the shorts? No. And you're not gonna warn him?
This is about as much warning as he's gonna get.
Okay, all right.
If he was on my team, I would, but he's on the other team.
Chris, your wardrobe malfunction. Tom Sroka is preying on it.
His coaches got to help him out there and his teammates. Hopefully they're looking out for him. I mean, they've been doing all their modeling shoots on social media and stuff, getting ready for the match with their old uniforms and everything. Somebody needs to help the boy out.
They're having so much fun. Fico's in the comments right now. He's like, yes, I can't wait. Fico's like taking notes, like tell Chris to bring.
Yeah. No, just bring a pair of compression shorts underneath, Chris. That's my only suggestion, brother. Because those shorts, there's a chance those things could bust on you.
Yeah. Don't let them bust on you, man.
Don't let them bust on you. Yeah, but nobody on the Sharks is over 220, so they can't sit at my table.
Fico said, nope, I want to see his face when he puts on the shorts.
I mean, see, that's the difference between Dan and Fico. Like they just, Dan warned me about the shorts. The jersey, Dan got too much enjoyment out of watching me try to squeeze it. It was like, you ever seen those offensive linemen with like the Oregon Ducks uniforms trying to squeeze into their jerseys? That's what it was like. David had to help me get my jersey on the first time.
Are you a different jersey size now?
No, I'm the same size. I like, listen, I didn't even look at the sizes. I just picked the biggest one they had for both. I didn't even like bother measuring. I was just like that one and that one. Like I went to the bottom of the list.
I have to tell you, the biggest pain of my life, I mean, I'm a woman, so it's a little bit different for me, is knowing that I'll never put on, like, a team jersey. I think that they're so cute and, like, they're so much fun to wear, and I can
Oh, I mean,
never, like, be caught dead in a specific team's jersey unless you pay me. I mean, we could
I
negotiate
mean, hey,
something.
listen, I'll
But
talk to our team people, but I like listen like the girls ones are cool as hell. The long sleeves with like the crop. I
it's
asked if
so cool.
I asked if I can get one. They said no last year. So
Would you rock the crop though, is the question. Like, you have to be willing to rock the crop.
it's not a matter of whether I'd rock the crop. It's how much damage to the viewership of the stream the league is willing to take. I think that's the bigger thing we got to worry about there. I like I said, I can't compete with the sharks and the modeling gigs and stuff like that. I know where I stand.
A lot of people can't.
I accept it, but yeah, the crop top would be in all fun and games, but viewership would definitely be down if I was rocking that on the grid.
We're gonna evolve as a society one day, and I think that when they put you on, like, Grid League Monthly, which is
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be our magazine, you're gonna be on the front cover.
Yeah, that'd be a great fundraiser for the league. You got enough good looking dudes and
Like a
girls in
calendar?
the calendar. Do the calendar.
I mean, new business idea.
There you go. There you go.
For free. That's crazy.
I don't know.
Bueno.
There you go.
Are you excited?
For the calendar? Yeah.
For the calendar, yes, exactly.
No, I'm
Are you
excited this weekend. I'm now starting to get antsy after talking to you about it because like once I'm done here, I'm gonna go eat something, gonna go do my last training session, and then I gotta pack my bag because my flight I gotta leave to go to the airport at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
I know, I told you I wouldn't take too long, especially because 'cause you've been standing the whole
Oh,
time.
you're good. The standing's good. The standing's good. I think I'm gonna get a treadmill for underneath his desk.
You're taking it too far.
Just a little I gotta
You're
get this thing
we're
yells,
weightlifters. We're weightlifters.
this thing yells at me if I don't get my steps in.
Can I call you a CrossFitter now? Or
No,
are you people gonna get mad at me?
no. I know how to swim. Sorry. I also don't can't stand Dave Castro, so no, don't call me CrossFitter. You can call me Irox. I'll take that bullet.
What, you would take High Rocks over CrossFit?
Right now, yeah, CrossFit's in shambles.
Tom, that's actually kind of crazy.
I enjoy watching High Rocks. You'll never catch me dead. Like it's so funny story about that. Josh and I talked about doing one, but we said we were gonna walk the running portion.
I don't like watching CrossFit. I don't like watching High Rocks. I think High Rocks makes me cringe a little bit because they said that High Rock stands for Hybrid Rock Stars, and I
Oh,
can't.
that definitely puts a damper on it for me.
Okay, you see, so I'm not the only one. It's
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of like a ooh, at least CrossFit, there's like some storylines and you follow people.
Let me rephrase this. CrossFit before 2020, I was all about. I feel like after 2020, CrossFit's lost its way a little bit, and they're still struggling. I mean, they've been sold like 2 or 3 times. Like
Yeah.
they keep changing the qualification format. Like I don't even know how you qualified for the games this year. Like it's
I couldn't tell you if you put like a gun to my head.
yeah, and then I know there's like this
It's not
world.
very fun.
There's the World Fitness Project that people were all about and everything too. Like there's just so many other alternatives out there. Like I think, I mean, people who are kind of like feeling a little bit lost in the CrossFit world, like there's this great sport called grid. You should give it a shot. We can probably get a few more teams added as a result. I just saw that they had the New York team just added. So, if you're in that New York area and you want to join a team, I don't know if that's where they're all based, but we got a New York team. I saw that we got the Texas team now. The Venom moved to Vegas. Like we're expanding, baby.
Yeah, jump on. I mean, World Fitness Project, it just looks like more boring CrossFit. No offense. But
Man, I only know about it because a few of our athletes that were on the team did it.
How'd they do? Do you know?
Amanda competed in the elite division. I think she did pretty well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I think Griffin's going to the games this year. I don't know. He was focusing on a team for the games, so I don't even know if he qualified. I should probably look into that.
Yeah,
but I know that was his focus this year. That was part of the reason why he didn't do grid.
They will be missed, but glad that you stayed. Glad you're here. Glad you're here to represent your team and be a mentor to your new rookies. I'm excited to see you on the grid.
Yeah.
Talk it up a little bit. watch
Yeah.
you compete. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, you guys do a great job with the media. You guys are always the best dressed out there and everything like that. I love chatting with you guys and stuff. I'll probably come hang out at the table a little bit more this year. And yeah,
Cool. I appreciate
I
that.
appreciate you having me on. I appreciate you guys a lot.
Thank you. I'm really happy that you came on and that we were able to make it happen right before the match and
For
everything.
sure,
So
for sure. Our
thanks
schedules
for the
finally aligned.
the what?
Our schedules finally aligned.
I know. Guys, I've been trying to get Tom on for months.
Like,
Just
no, religiously about 2 weeks. 2 weeks it was
okay.
you were like, hey, I got this date. I'm like, I'm not in town that day. You're like, I'm out of town this weekend. Like it's been about 2 weeks of bouncing back. We've been talking about it for months. Yes.
Yes, but it happened. It's gonna happen again.
Yes, it is.
Thank you for your patience with me
Yes,
because
yeah.
I'm a
Thank
little
you.
bit crazy.
Yeah,
But
thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
thank you. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for tuning in.